Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with a little bit of a story, and I guess it's something to talk about after 26 years DC Comics rumored to close Vertigo. This is a article from Bleeding Cool posted by Rich Johnston on June 4th. Okay, so it says, Bleeding Cool has been informed by a number of sources this morning that DC Comics is planning to shutter its Vertigo imprint. This has come as quite a surprise to some, as I also understand that DC Comics has just greenlit a number of Vertigo projects for publication. Indeed, there are plans for a big launch of new books for San Diego Comic-Con, spearheading a new Vertigo thing, but I've been told that word has come on high rather rapidly to make the change. Some contracts are being revoked, some creator-owned titles released back to their creators, and some will be moved within the publisher, and those affected are being informed. All right, then the article goes on to basically give a little bit of a history. It was created in 1993 by Karen Berger, and that, of course, goes on to list some of the better-known comic books, such as Y the Last Man, Transmetropolitan, and Constantine, of course, Sandman, Doom Patrol, Preacher. There's a lot of books that were really good in the past that were released to Vertigo. And then it goes on to state, and this is where the meat and potatoes of the article comes. When things started going south, Vertigo has suffered a number of blows in recent years after a proud presentation amongst Warner Brothers vice presidents. Then Chairman Alan Horn asked why more Vertigo series weren't being turned into TV shows or movies. Because many were creator-owned, he demanded changes to the contracts that saw bankable stars such as Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Grant Morrison, and Neil Gaiman look elsewhere for new work and better deals, with subsequent contractual changes, only making things worse. As part of the reorganization of DC Comics, the imprint lost the right to use DC Comics' established characters such as Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol, though they kept Hellblazer going for a short while. That is so strange that DC Comics did kind of eat itself. I wondered why Hellblazer wasn't in the Vertigo and it was part of Rebirth. It doesn't make sense, because you really want Hellblazer to be its own thing and not a part of DC proper. At least I do. I would prefer John Constantine on his own than hobnobbing with the likes of Batman. It just, I don't know, it never felt right, even though Hellblazer did actually start with Swamp Thing that actually had dealings with Batman and such. I still just felt when he went to his own title, he seemed out of place in the DCU. But that's just my opinion on this. Okay, then we have the firing of Karen and Shelley, it says. As part of the reorganizations, DC Comics placed Vertigo under an editorial control of Hank Canales and then Bob Harris, effectively demoting Vertigo founder and senior editor Karen Berger, who previously reported directly to the publisher and president Paul Levitz. Though there were often issues there, soon after, she was fired by DC Comics after a period of gardening leave. She set up Berger Books at Dark Horse, drawing on much of the Vertigo talent she had nurtured at the imprint. Oh my gosh, you mean somebody who actually was kind and gave people a start followed the person who did that, leaving DC with a talent void? Who would have ever seen that coming? I know what we do. Let's get that lady who pissed off a whole bunch of gamers in that Gamergate thing to write a Vertigo book. That should do things, right? Okay, so DC would also fire her successor, Shelley Bond, who would do likewise, setting up Black Crown at IDW. By the way, actually, Black Crown is a good imprint. Oversight of Vertigo was placed under Jamie S. Rich until Mark Doyle became the current senior editor. Let's see what it says. Continues to go. Other publishers stepped up their creator-owned game with better deals, greater publicity, including Image Comics, Dark Horse, Sony Press, Boom Studio, and more. It has been notable that even a launch title from the likes of Vault and Black Mask can double or triple the launch of a new comic book from Vertigo. There's been talks of Vertigo taint in the eyes of retailers, which not even the recent Sandman Presents could counter. Sandman Presents is boring as hell. They don't know what to do with the character. I mentioned this in the top 10 list I did of the worst DC books. They seem to have learned the wrong lesson as far as Sandman is concerned with the new Sandman line. It's like I said Vertigo was going to get in the 90s. I was reading it and I was going, well, it started off well, but then they just figured, hey, you know what sells? Weird stuff. And they just started putting out weird books for weird sake, or just harsh books for harsh sake. I actually didn't read Preacher for a while because I thought that was just falling under, hey, they get to say the F word. Big deal. I've heard it before. I say it a lot myself. I'm not impressed. And I saw a lot of books like that come out from Vertigo in the 90s. And I think they learned that kind of lesson with the new Sandman books. Hey, this is, people liked it because it talked about this, or it focused on the side characters and people only want to see that. And they just steer heavily into crap. So it says the 2018 relaunch that fizzled. Recent relaunch last year alongside the Sandman title saw the announcement of Border Town by Eric Esquivel and Ramon Villalobos, canceled in December after 4 published and 2 unpublished issues after harassment allegations against Esquivel. Yeah, you know what also? The book sucked. It's one of the worst books. Ramon Villalobos, God bless him, keeps failing upwards. Horrible, horrible art. Eric Esquivel set out to write a racist story, and he did. What bothered me about Border Town a lot, and I really should do some bad comic beatdowns on it, is that there's a premise there that sounds awesome. It's got a great premise, but it's such poor execution. Second Coming by Mark Russell and Richard Pace canceled before its debut over content concerns. Yeah, I don't even remember that. Did it ever come out? Finding a New Home at Ahoy Comics, Hex Wives by Ben Baker and Mark Andolfo, which ended after 6 issues. Another book that I thought was good, a good premise with poor execution. Hex Wives is about this coven of witches that is it's kind of a Stepford Wives thing, but all the wives are witches that are being suppressed. Let's see, American Carnage by Brian Hill and Leonardo Fernandez. That's actually not too bad, tell you the truth. Goddess Mode by Zoe Quinn and Robbie Rodriguez is boring as hell, which has been getting later on schedules. You hire somebody outside of comic books, they're not going to be able to know how to keep a schedule. Keeping it scheduled, I remember when you would read articles in Overstreet and you would read articles in Wizard, keeping a schedule was one of the things that professionals would always say is the most important, but then Image came along. High Level by Rob Sheridan and Barnaby Bajenda. Bad character. It's a bad story about an ugly character. And the currently unscheduled Safe Sex by Tina Horn and Mike Daly. It didn't set the world on fire. At its peak, it was the very best American comics had to offer, but the internal politics within Warner's and DC Comics saw them kill the golden goose, and for some time now, it's been a zombie itself. Attempts to revive it with Sandman Presents and new titles from prominent names would have not succeeded. So what happens now, the article asks. It is likely titles such as Lucifer and other titles from Sandman Presents line may continue at DC Comics, and creator owned titles that DC has given up on may find new homes at other publishers. There are also a number of live TV movie projects based on Vertigo titles such as Survivor's Club that could conceivably keep them being published at DC, at least for now. Sandman books will no doubt continue to come out from the publisher, as well as Young Animal books. And there is still the planned San Diego Comic-Con launch. Will it be repurposed, challenged, dropped? Or is it all of this bunkum? Well, it is a rumor. But it's been a rumor that's been repeated so many times it has to be talked about, right? If Vertigo goes, hashtag Vertigon, it will be a sad day for many, not just those employed at Vertigo or books there. Vertigo was the first brand to successfully sell a line of adult-focused comic books into comic stores and bookshops, and created its own Vertigo Zombies, who would pick up every title. It would take risk. So what do I think? Good riddance. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're not putting out good books, I don't have any use for you. I have seen many comic book companies come and go, so this is just one more, and it's still DC Comics. And like he said, the big ones, the ones that have proven themselves, you're going to get somewhere else. So yeah, okay. Have a good time. Go join Epic. You know, I mean, we've seen this before. This is not a big deal. It's been running a long time, but hey, you know what? So did Dell. They were there for a long time. So was Harvey Comics. You know, it's just something that happens. I'm sorry, I can't get sad about this. It was run into the ground. It was mishandled, and now it's paying the price. I know my title is I Love Comics, and I'm supposed to love everything, but the truth is, like I said, I've been through this before. This is just one more. I'm not going to act like I'm crying about it, because when it comes down to the Sandman, to me, the golden age has already come and gone for that title, and I've got the trade paperbacks, and I love them. And I'll continue to read them. Nothing that Vertigo has shown me is something I can't live without. I like Books of Magic that's going on right now, but if it got canceled tomorrow, hey, next. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it's gone for Vertigo with me. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I know some are going to be a little more hit by this than others. Put it down in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And also, go on over to Ko-Fi or to Patreon, drop $1 in the till, help support the channel, or go over to the Amazon store. I've got a link in the description below. Buy something. You know what? I'll go over there, and I'm going to make sure I've got a lot of Vertigo trade paperbacks for you guys to check out. If you buy one from the store, you help out the channel. So you get something, we get something, and the world is a happy place. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.